It all started here, my journey to climate change. Early one morning I was sitting here ruminating, and the wind was so strong outside that it turned on the sensor on our back garden floodlight. And my first thought was, wow, that was strong wind. But my second thought was, is there any way to capture that wind? The strength and the energy in that wind. So I sat here for another 10 minutes and I came up with the idea of Poweridge, a way to capture wind through a domestic dwelling. So here we are in my loft, and this represents the top of a roof. This top tile is commonly known as the ridge tile, and my idea was to lift the ridge tile to make a gap so the air could go up the roof through the gap, and through something called the Venturi effect it would get sucked out the gap on the other side, creating therefore a powerful flow of air. And my idea was to put a horizontal turbine under this ridge tile, something like this. So this is the type of turbine. So wind would come up, turn the turbine. Then if you put motors on the end of the turbine, as the wind came up and turned the turbine, it would turn the motors and create free electricity. So I built a prototype, and here it is. So here's the little motor on the side. Here is the turbine, also known as an impeller. And here is the vent to capture all the wind and the airflows. So if we take the ridge tile off, put the unit on, put the ridge tile back on. So now it easily forces the air through the gap over the turbine, turning the engine and creating electricity. Now if we put one of these under every single ridge tile, we'll then have an array of our unit. I call the unit a Poweridge because it gets power from the ridge of a roof. And when you have an array of them, it's the equivalent of 2, 3 or 4 traditional turbines, depending on the size of your roof. But because of the Venturi effect and the way air is accelerated through the gap and pulled out the other side, it's a lot more efficient, creates more energy, is visually more aesthetic, and at the same time, if there's a problem, it's easier to replace a unit rather than replacing a whole turbine or a blade. So that's the Poweridge.
Neil O'Neill from Northamptonshire is about to face the Dragons. He's brought along his eco-friendly power-saving invention that he claims will reduce carbon emissions. Neil is looking for an investment of £50,000 and he's ready to part with 12% of his company in return.
Hi, I'm Neil O'Neill and I'm going to show you the Poweridge. I went on the BBC's online Dragon's Den to try and sell Poweridge, but the Dragons didn't get it and wanted most of the company before they would do anything. You will notice the Dragons only invest in finished products. They don't like the risk of developing a new idea. So Poweridge is my contribution to climate change by creating clean and free energy for every domestic dwelling in the world. I have a fully approved patent. What I don't have is somebody brave enough to invest in it.